video games, 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 video games.
It's November 28th, 2012, and
It's Halloween!
is it?
This is Idle Thumbs 85. I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
And Sean Vanneman is gone today. Forever. Just this episode. We are joined by Kirk Hamilton from Kotaku.
Hey, Kirk.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, it's good.
Not bad.
Cool.
How about you?
Oh, I'm pretty good.
How's this Halloween going for you?
Oh, it's very cool. I got a great costume.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. What are you dressing up as?
I dressed up as a character from Skyrim.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, was it customized? Like, are you recognizable? Or
Yeah, I figured it had been long enough since the game came out that people would be able to recognize me. I have a,
You dressed as your Skyrim character.
Yes, as my Dovahkiin. Yes. I figured people know him by now because he's probably
he's pretty famous. Like
he saved the world.
He did all those amazing quests and like explored the entire world himself and like. So everyone's got to know who that guy is.
That's
right?
what I thought going to the party. You believe it or not, though, most people didn't know who I was. Yeah, I know. They're all just into like anime or whatever, like lame stuff that they're into. Yeah. It was a real letdown.
Yeah, that's too bad they didn't recognize your.
I know. It was cool though.
Weird mohawked warrior princess costume.
Right.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Video games.
Oh,
yeah.
So. Nobody connected to Idle Thumbs anymore has any way to play games like Far Cry 3 before they came out, but fortunately...
We have a real games journalist on this week.
Nice. That's what I'm here for.
And I actually legitimately know almost nothing about Far Cry 3.
All that I know about Far Cry 3 is that it was at PAX and many people played it and enjoyed what they saw.
Yeah.
But I was dubious.
I saw a positive tweet from Steve, but that was it. Like, I still don't know anything about it.
All Steve talked about was wolves attacking everything.
Right. Yeah.
And that was encouraging to me.
So, wait, actually, before we start talking about Far Cry 3...
Wait, what?
No, I mean, it's related. But, Kirk, what is your relationship to Far Cry 2? Because our stupid podcast, as you might know...
we hate it. We think it's bullshit.
Right.
No, you're thinking of people hating us and thinking we're bullshit because of our obsession with Far Cry 2.
I was thinking of Far Cry Instincts for the Xbox.
Right.
I played that game.
Yeah, so did we.
That's not
It's
a
really
very
good
game.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I love Far Cry 2, actually.
Oh, welcome to Idle Thumbs.
Yes.
How have we never had you on Idle Thumbs before?
I don't know. I love that game. It's actually one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, man.
I get no ends of shit about it at Kotaku. I used to come in, Steven Totillo, my boss, would give me crap about Far Cry 2. Be like, oh, well, why don't you just write an article about Far Cry 2 today? Because, a very small amount of people actually care about Far Cry 2, and those who do care mostly hate it. So I always get a lot of crap for liking it.
That's not true. Everyone loves Far Cry.
Welcome home.
There are you guys. So yeah, I love Far Cry 2 though. It's a great game. So I came to Far Cry 3 with a lot of sort of expectations and baggage.
Right. Yeah. What did you think?
It's a really good. It's a really, really good video game, which...
That's really descriptive and helpful.
Well, and and I think that there's
that also sounds like you're leaving yourself wiggle room in there.
I am, I think, because I'm playing it again. I played it all the way through. I probably played like 30 hours of that game, and I'm still playing it, which is a good sign, right? Because that's how I play Far Cry 2 as well. Like, I've played that game like 3 times all the way through. I play it, and I still just kind of play it. I go back and just play it some. I don't know if you guys play it that way, but like you can just kind of go and do some missions. It's sort of all the same, so you just can play some, and then you get your Far Cry 2 fix. So Far Cry 3 feels that way too, but it's also like way more of a video game than Far Cry 2, and it's way.
What do you mean when you say that?
Well, so when I say it's a very good video game, it's like there's all this stuff in it. You're on an island, so it's like kind of like the island from Crysis. It's like a tropical,
or Far Cry 1, right?
Yeah, it's like kind of like Far Cry 1, only it's like a wide open island. Okay. So in that way, it feels more like Far Cry 2. It's totally open world. And you do the same kind of stuff you do in Far Cry 2. Like you drive cars around and you sneak around, you take out enemy outposts, and you get better guns, but then there's all this stuff they added to the game that sort of makes it way more gamey. It's like there's leveling and you get experience points, and there's a crafting system and you have to hunt dudes.
That kind of stuff makes me nervous in a game like Far Cry 2.
Right.
Because one of the things I liked about it was how much it wasn't gamey. I mean, it was in a lot of ways, right? Like there's the the guys who respawn instantly as soon as you leave the outpost, things like that.
But those are also often the annoying things about Far Cry 2.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Right. It's funny that a lot of the things that I like, that I wound up liking about Far Cry 2 are the things that people hate about Far Cry 2, like the way that it's so oppressive and like it's never empowering.
Well,
like,
those are the things I love.
Kind of,
those are the best parts about it. Yeah.
And even the respawning guards, like the fact that the game just kind of is this just shooting guys like at outposts, and you know, if they respawn, cool, it's just like more game to play. Like that's
one of the things where the individual, that's a weird case for me, where the individual thing about the guards respawning is irritating, but as just one component in the larger whole that is just the tapestry of how shitty this place is, it helps in that respect.
Yeah,
right?
it contributes to the way the world feels. Like you have malaria and like everything's against you, and it's constantly like there's just dudes trying to shoot you.
So in Far Cry 3, you probably have like 2 malarias, right?
So in Far Cry 3, you don't have malaria. So all the things here are the things that are gone from Far Cry 3.
I see people keep talking about malaria.
No malaria, and your guns don't degrade.
You see the word malaria trending on Twitter, and it's from people saying, "Where's the malaria?"
Right. They actually could be talking about
where's
actual
the malaria. Is the
or it's actually the people are talking about malaria.
Malaria as a real global health problem.
No. Malaria is a video game mechanic from Far Cry 2.
Oh, right. That's all it is. I forgot.
Well,
so
I assume they made up that. I assumed it was one of those like fake video games.
It's like the made-up country of Africa that it takes place in. That imagined place. So the the new game does take place in a made-up place. But it's
Earth.
Like, they're called the Rook Islands, they're in the South Pacific, and it's so your guns are awesome and they never degrade, and you have like you can assign your weapon slots however you want, so you can carry like 4 pistols if you want to.
That's sweet. Whatever. That guy's hilarious.
Like the awesome 4-pistol dude, you can do that, or carry all sniper rifles or whatever.
4-pistol guy. Can you see your character model with just like 3 fucking straps and then one in your hand?
Like, this is my close quarters pistol, and this is my stealth pistol.
That is my guy, basically.
I mean, 4 pistols guy.
Like just pistols.
Yeah. So you can do that though, which I actually kind of, I don't know, like all the I like the restrictions in Far Cry 2, like how there's kind of the 2 or 3 loadouts you come up with that really work well, but you have to unlock the things to be able to get the guns.
Okay, so I could be totally wrong about this, but this sounds like the way you describe, and I'm, I say this not having played the game, so I'm stating right up front, it's an uninformed opinion, and I'm aware of that, and I'm not trying to declare anything definitively. But it sounds like when someone gives someone a recipe for like, oh, this is my like spaghetti bolognese, and then you take it and you're like, oh, I don't use like cumin, I use like this. Whatever, you change this thing, and then you like, oh, I use a full cup of onions, not half a cup. And you change it. By the time you get to the end, like I only change these like little things around the edges, but then you end up with a thing that's just totally different.
Well, my question then with that is, what with all the changes, what does it feel like to you to play as someone who played Far Cry 2? Because that's what it all comes down to.
So the thing is, and so when I say it's a really good video game, the cool thing about that is that it is a different recipe, but it's a delicious dish. Like I think that people will. I know that sounds like a box quote.
It's a delicious dish would be
no, you need the whole thing. It's a new recipe, but it's a delicious
dish. Kirk Hamilton, Kotaku.com.
Oh no, Idle Thumbs.
Oh, right. Sorry.
You said that here. That's going on the box with Idle Thumbs.
This delicious dish will blow you away.
Right. That's
the IGN quote.
Playing it, and especially playing it so soon after Assassin's Creed 3, which I was super disappointed by. It's super good video game. Like you play it and it's like, dude, the people who made this are crazy talented. Everything works. So you play it and like, there were all these things in Far Cry 2 that you learned to work around, but that didn't actually work that well. Like the stealth, like didn't really work. And like audio, I always found was an issue for me in Far Cry 2. Like you can't always hear wherever people they'll start talking and it just sounds like they're right next to you. And
audio,
it's like
the speech in general,
a little weird.
So
and like
in the battle of games developed this year by Ubisoft Montreal, who are in their 3rd iteration, whose second word in the
Far Cry 3 wins in a landslide.
Starts with CR.
And who may hypothetically open with the same Lewis Carroll quote of Brian Davis is to be believed.
Right. Who may possibly
Just saying there's a clear winner.
Yes,
it's a clear
winner.
Dish.
Like playing it, I was like,
undisputed delicious.
It's actually like
dish.
Day one dish.
It's one of the most polished like
dishes.
It's no, but the food is on the dish. It's not polished yet.
Oh,
it's one of the most immaculate dishes.
Your plate was clean at the end.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go kill myself right now. So I hope you guys.
It's a really polished game. Like everything works. So it's kind of like you drive a lot, and then driving feels great, and like you You sneak a lot, and the stealth.
And the sneaking feels great.
Yeah, the stealth.
You
is
drive
really
a lot, of the driving feels great. You sneak a lot, and the sneaking feels great.
The AI is really good. Like the artificial intelligence.
Can you set wacky things on fire that go out of control? Okay,
you can
good. That's key.
You can drive your car off a cliff, and then your car catches fire while you're in the air, and then you wind up in this huge conflagration, and you're running around, and like the same kind of Far Cry stuff happens. Like, and it's better actually because in Far Cry 2, the animals were like zebras that you'd run over, but they never.
In Far Cry 3, it's human beings.
In Far Cry 2, there are like tigers that will kill your ass, or like there are all kinds of animals that fight back.
I mean, I guess I don't know,
but it leads to unpredictability. That's pretty cool.
Fair enough.
Like,
wolves.
Yeah, there actually are no wolves. I don't know what Gaynor was talking about.
What Steve said in the demo.
They're dogs.
Okay, that's probably what was going on because all he was describing was
dogs and dingoes.
All Steve was talking about was like I was camped out high up above above a campment in the grass. And then I was attacked and killed by a dog.
Right, yeah.
And then I respawned. And then I went somewhere else and I made a lot of noise. And then a bunch of dogs ran in and killed all the guys at the camp. And it's like,
it's basically Dishonored, but with dogs instead of rats.
They're dogs in Dishonored. But the way that it all works is like, all that stuff works, right? Okay, blah, blah, everything works. Combat feels good, whatever. It's like it's a good video game. But then also everything works well together. Like there's this whole kind of crafting system that you have to use to like make your inventory better. And then you have to go hunting in order to skin animals. It's like that Red Dead Redemption thing. But it really all like comes together really effectively.
What the Far Cry series actually has just done, which is make just a different game that is also set on a big island.
Yeah.
And Far Cry 1 and 2 are really not that similar.
It feels like Far Cry 2 in that like there's that you slide, there's that physicality to your dude. Like it has that, you do those crazy animations where you like pull bullets out of yourself and stuff like that's all still there. It really does it feels like a game that someone who totally didn't like Far Cry 2 for all the reasons that that a lot of people didn't like it would make this game. Like, I think that's what happens.
What I'm getting from this is probably I will play Far Cry 3 and probably enjoy it, but it won't make me like a fanatic about it. Because it's like a good video game. That's like a lot of good video games, but just really good at it. Whereas Far Cry 2 is like this other evolutionary branch that is flawed, but is just out there. That
Correct.
Just other things aren't.
I feel the same way.
A lot of the stuff in Far Cry 2 it felt like it was very much in service mechanically of achieving a really specific tone, and Far Cry 3 doesn't feel like it's as like Far Cry 2 feels like all of it was chasing almost sometimes like myopically to a fault. This one really, really specific tiny feeling that's But this seems like
Far Cry 3
this seems like it's wiped a bit of that away, and
like,
it's just what are the mechanics of that we like? Now let's put them in a game that opens with teens having a party on the beach.
Right. Well, and so that opening, which actually I think is like that's like that opening. It totally. The whole idea behind that opening, and this is kind of a spoiler, I guess, but like that opening doesn't happen. Like it starts that way with like these people having a party, but it's actually like really quickly you're watching that on a camera phone and you're like, you've been captured by this crazy ass dude.
Of course,
like,
but just
it isn't like a party game. Like
that's obvious because it's Far Cry, but just the difference in tone between. Between the opening of Far Cry 2, which is like this weird in media res thing, and then you're just sick and dying, and a guy is menacing you.
Far Cry 2 never even purports to imagine that there was a better version of this that could have gone well.
No,
there's never even a suggestion.
And they do this thing with the story in Far Cry 3 where it's like the idea is that you're this dude, Jason Brody. His name is Jason Brody.
Nice.
I'm pleased by that.
Yeah, who's this like 20-something California bro who like becomes a warrior over the course
I hope
of
that the twist is that his name is Jason the Jackal Brody, and you don't find that out until the very end.
And unfortunately, like I was hoping for some kind of hint of like a Far Cry 2 tie-in, but there isn't.
No, of course not.
But, we're sending you to Africa.
One of the things I think is so great. Okay, I can't believe I'm saying this again, but one of the things I think is so great about Far Cry 2.
You can't believe you're saying those that bundle of words right there.
I don't know. Like it's just
whatever. This is the Far Cry 3 talk. This is the first time we're actually.
But I've never talked to you guys about how great Far Cry 2 is. So this is fresh a little bit.
No, you're right. Just not to the 20,000 people listening to us.
Right. We're just sick to death of Far Cry 2.
No, they're not. They crave it.
No one gets.
We haven't had a legit Far Cry talk in a long time. We've only joked about it, and then
this is a good time for it. I mean, Far Cry 3 is out.
Again, this is the thing I say not to denigrate Far Cry 3 because
which is a piece of shit, as Chris Rambo idle thumbs.
Because I think I just like the way that I should approach Far Cry 3 probably is just this is a game that like drew from Far Cry 2, but is not like an iteration on that,
right?
Because in Far Cry 3, you've got this guy who his entire life he's been presumably a fairly non-serious dude. Like he's not a killer.
Well, that's actually the point,
right?
Is that he's not serious.
And then like but this world turns him into like an incredibly efficient killing machine. Whereas in Far Cry 2, the premise is you're already a cold-blooded mercenary, and you're still going to get your ass kicked by the end of this. Like those are incredibly different thesis statements. Like Far Cry 3's thesis statement is basically the thesis statement of like Modern Warfare Black Ops ads, where it's like you play video games and you can be. There's a soldier in you, and like you can just be awesome by going through this gauntlet.
And so that
like,
thesis, like, and it's funny because like so the guy, I think Jeffrey Yolem, I think is his name, who wrote it, he's a good writer. Like it's got the anime, like the cutscenes, like the sort of mocap is great, the acting is great, and the writing is good. So there are these really convincing performances, and it's way more interesting than like like most first person shooters. Like they're playing with some pretty cool stuff, and it could have gone a direction that actually would have been really neat in a like sort of pulpy, like Fight Clubby kind of like crazy reality bending way that they don't quite complete, and then it sort of falls apart.
Right.
But they really could have done something cool. It wouldn't have been like Far Cry as sophisticated as Far Cry 2, but like they could have done something cool. They don't pull it off.
The reason I bring that up is not to say that there's anything inherently wrong with the writing in that game, because again, I haven't played it.
Yeah.
But I just the difference in that arc that they choose to portray, like. Sounds like it lines up with a lot of the choices that they made that are different between the two.
It's also
games.
it's way closer to the arc of the first game, isn't it? Which is just guy and his girlfriend end up on an island.
Basically
but Far Cry 1 then goes into there's mutants and stuff, doesn't it?
Right, and they thankfully don't do that, which is like one great thing. They also don't do the Crysis thing. Like there's never a point where suddenly you're fighting a different kind of enemy, which is great because it's just fun to fight dudes in the jungle. Like you don't want to evolve it. It just gets more complicated and difficult. But
it's good they cut that third map out of Far Cry 2.
Yeah, right.
God, I got to tell you, like everybody knows, that we like Far Cry 2, but when I got to I couldn't believe it when I got to the second map in Far Cry 2, and like,
well, that's what it's just like now reminding you what a fucking AAA game is,
and hours and hours, and I'm like, man, this game's crazy, and I thought I was at the end, and I'm like, man, that was a crazy experience, and then it's just like you go back to the thing, and you look at your map, and it's like
a whole other half of the game.
That was not even intended to be this, I'm sure, but that was one of the most legitimately surprising, startling experiences I've ever had in any game ever, where I was just, you
climb this huge mountain, and then just what the peak reveals is a second fucking mountain.
And Far Cry 3 honestly has something a little bit similar in terms of size. Like it's where they flip it and you're like, oh, there's a whole other island. Like that, we're going to do this again.
Spoilers. This is a Far Cry 3 spoiler cast.
That's not.
There's like 6 islands.
Spoiler. You look at the map at the very beginning and you can see it.
So that's not the same then.
No, it isn't the same as there's another. Right,
you're like, you
it's
really
not the
think
same.
It's the end of the game.
No,
or I did anyway. I don't know.
But yeah, no, it's a good game. It feels to me. I was trying to describe. We were talking to someone about games that feel like sort of. It was a separate conversation about like authenticity versus sincerity, but like this game feels. I was trying to describe why I still like Far Cry 2 more than Far Cry 3, even though Far Cry 3 is like objectively like a way superior game. Like everything is.
It's objectively superior.
That's a worthless statement.
I know, right. Okay, that's a bullshit statement. It's like, well, it's like you write about video games a lot. You start to think in this stupid way where it's like something can be objectively good, but like in terms of like what people who like video games like Far Cry 3 has everything.
That's not good, like necessarily.
Right.
That's,
right. So it's
you
like
son of a bitch.
Right. Sorry. Sorry for ruining everything.
No. But it's. I was thinking about this a lot when I was playing Halo 4 this past week, because I was trying to think of what do people mean when they say, "Oh, is that video game good?"
Yeah.
Like, what do they
very similar.
Mean when they say that? And it's like, well, you probably just mean, is it fun?
Right.
Which doesn't mean fun. And when I say that, I don't mean to say fun is a bad quality or that you shouldn't. But if that's what you're asking, people should just say, "Oh, is it fun?"
Right.
Like, or is it playable, or is it like accessible or something? Because when I was trying to think, is Halo 4 good? I couldn't even come to any conclusion. Like, if I was trying to come up with some like evaluation of goodness, like, is this a thing that is good to exist in the world? Like, I don't even know. I literally don't know.
And it's
like there are some games, and there are plenty of books and films and so on where I could be like, yes, it is. This is good. Like, it is good. The world is better, even in some minuscule degree, for this having existed in it. A game like Halo 4, which I'm basically enjoying, I just don't even, you know what I mean? I don't even know how to come to that evaluation.
What's funny about Far Cry is that it feels like really quantifiable, which is like a weird thing. Is like that I can say, oh, it's like a good game.
Yeah.
Everything about the game feels quantifiable, where what I actually like about Far Cry 2 is that the things that are good about that game don't feel quantifiable.
No,
like,
absolutely. Yeah.
It's like a game you have to describe, or like you have to play it. Like people play it and they'll play an hour, and I'm like, just play like 10 hours.
Far Cry 3 seems very much like it is. The sum of its parts are successful.
And you're like, wow, like
Far Cry
everything
2
works
is
so
this,
well together. Like it's very.
We call
good.
it a rough diamond
Yeah.
That you find with a stupid tracking device where I can never fucking find them.
Right.
Oh man, I found lots of diamonds.
Yeah, I found so many diamonds. There are no diamonds in Far Cry 3, unfortunately. Or there are, but they're marked on a mini-map.
Far Cry 3 is the diamond.
I feel like I just really need to not evaluate Far Cry 3 through the lens of Far Cry 2.
Right. That's important.
That's what's driving me crazy about all the people.
You need to look at Far Cry 3 and think of it as like the Dishonored to games of its ilk.
Exactly.
And not just,
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just a game.
Because there's so many people in Idle Thumbs related threads and who on Twitter and stuff who are like, oh man, bet you guys are really stoked for Far Cry 3. And I'm like, well,
or
in the sense that it might be just a good game, but not because it says Far Cry in the title. Like that's just a separate.
Well, it's a completely different crew making it.
Exactly,
it seems like,
yeah,
it's like we're at this point hilariously years past Far Cry 2.
Yeah, it's been 4 years.
Also, Far Cry to Far Cry 2 was a huge, completely insane jump into a completely different genre.
So the series already has a legacy of just different games.
I'm sure there are Far Cry 1 maniacs who are like, what the fuck did they do?
Well, I'm sure there were.
And then they're now stoked about Crysis because it has aliens that show up in it and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Crysis was definitely a much more. Well, I mean, Crysis was like it was definitely felt like a more direct follow up to Far Cry 1.
Well, it feels like Far Cry 1, like that cell split.
Yeah,
basically, there was a mitosis.
But Crysis still had the much more legitimately open world that Far Cry 2 does.
Right. Yeah.
Which was just parallel evolution, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
I like Crysis a lot, actually. Crysis was probably my favorite, like straightforward first-person shooter.
Well, the first half of Crysis, though. Do you like the part where they fight the aliens?
No, but I mean, I'm just saying, all things considered,
as a game,
yeah. No, but I didn't like the last.
I hate the I played it all the way through. And
no one likes
thankless.
The alien switchover.
That boss fight at the end when you're like on the aircraft carrier.
Like in any game, it's almost always bad. Like if you spent all this time tuning your mechanics and figuring out what the actual core of your game is, and the vast majority of your development time is on like version A of that, and then you have got 25% of it or whatever, 30% of it that's just this totally different thing. Like you've been.
No, yeah, I don't understand it either.
Sense. Like,
and it's a continuing thing. I mean, it was true in Crysis 2 as well. Like Crysis 2 was fun enough to play those little sandbox stealth areas, and then the aliens show up, and then it became a less fun game.
That's how I feel about about Halo 4. Although it's not the same because they introduced them really early, but those Skullface guys, I can't stand.
Wait,
them.
the Ancient Evil?
They're called Prometheans.
Yeah, the Ancient Evil.
I think.
Or whatever. I don't know if that's the
Forerunners or the Prometheans.
The Prometheans, I guess.
I think they're Prometheans. Yeah.
So I've played a lot of. I mean, I don't know if I've played a lot of it or not. I guess I've played through. I don't know how long the game is, but I started the Legendary game like right after we recorded last week's podcast, pretty much, and because you guys were talking about it, and it made me want to play Halo. And I've played through the first 6 campaign like chapters.
Okay, so you haven't finished the story.
No.
I bet we're probably close, similar in the story then. The Ancient Evil is awoken for me, and like.
I don't even know. I've started skipping all the cutscenes.
The tank? Did you ride the tank? Did you do the tank level?
I did the whole thing.
So it's safe to say
that's where I'm at.
You mean the big tank that looks like Master Chief's face?
Yeah.
What? Does the Master Chief parade float in this game?
Yeah, basically. It is.
Do you get to go inside and then look out through his eye mask?
You can't do that. No.
Oh, what?
There's a huge gun on top that never fires.
It does fire.
Oh, it does?
It does fire.
In a cutscene?
I saw Tom Chick was talking about that. No, it fires in the game. Tom Chick said in his review, he was like, you get on a huge tank in Halo 4 and the tank never fires, and that's like the game.
What does it fire at?
It totally fires because there's that huge floating sphere thing, and then like there's a part where like you have to go shoot guys on the ground, and then so they can shoot the thing, and then they shoot it like once or something. Like the cannon.
So it's a cutscene gun.
Kind of, or it like
they only have one shot.
It's in the game, yeah, but then they fire it. But it does. I swear, it fires.
I'm really sad that you don't get to go inside the tank and then see through Master, because you see the whole game obviously through Master Chief's helmet, and then have it a second other helmet inside of the game,
and then that tank docks into a Master Chief planet.
Going out
into a Master Chief planet,
like planetoid. You know.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Well, it would be like a space station on a planet.
In this game. Yeah, like, if that huge sphere, like that massive sphere, if it turned around, then it was just Master Chief's face.
The tank would then just lift up to look at the sphere, which would look down, and then it would just hold poignantly for a second as the sun crests.
The piano chord would play.
And then the gun on the tank would finally fire once to blow up the sphere.
As Master Chief puts a bullet in his own brain.
Yeah, so you're a Halo. You're like a Halo expert. So what's your like? What do you think of Halo 4?
I really don't like the Prometheans. I really like.
Yeah.
So this is the thing.
Well, I feel like they're kind of just like the Covenant.
Oh, I don't feel that way at all.
No.
I mean, I'm playing on Legendary. It might be different. Like I might.
Yeah, I'm playing on like pussy difficulty.
Because on Legendary, they are bullet sponges. Like they just take. It's ridiculous. They feel like essentially elites that just have a bunch of crap on them also. Like they also teleport and they also have this like ability to quickly run at you and take you out. And they also have this like a very powerful gun. And they also have this weird behavior where you have to like shoot them in the head and then they lose their shield and then they kind of do this other thing. And then a little gyrocopter pops out of their back and like,
it just sounds like you're describing Inspector Gadget to me.
Yeah, that's what these guys are like.
They're very gadgety. Like,
all right, so I love Halo combat a lot.
It's evolved. It's evolved.
It's pretty evolved. I really feel like it is. If you're in terms of games whose entire identity is just first-person shooting things, I think Halo is so far above every single other example of it. Like it's just not even funny. Like it's just in terms of games that are just about that, like not counting really simulation driven stuff like DayZ or whatever, but in terms of stuff where it's just run in and fight guys in a fast paced first person situation, in single player, it's just the best in my opinion, like by far. Just
the encounter design and enemy AI.
And enemy AI behaviors, like, and really importantly for why I don't like the Prometheans, the spread of like groups you fight. So the thing that's so amazing about Halo is you have these I mean, I'm sure it's incredibly complicated behind the scenes, but on the surface, you have these fairly simple enemy archetypes that are arranged in completely variable groups that out of the combination, out of the group, comes a really interesting scenario. So you've got the grunts, you've got the jackals, I guess, who have shields and can potentially have sniper rifles. The grunts can have laser pistols or needlers or whatever. You've got the elites, you've got brute. Like there's all of these enemies, but each of them has just a couple core traits about them. The grunts are small and they die if you get one headshot on them, and they can have a couple different weapons and they're not that powerful. The jackals have a shield and they have a sniper rifle often, and they'll be far away, and like they have the shield makes them really fun to fight because you can hit them once in between the shield. That causes them to startle and put the shield up. Then you can nail them in the head. Like it's a very simple, straightforward thing, but it's really fun. The elites have more shields and a variety of weapons, and they're very mobile. They can dodge very easily. The brutes are huge. You've got the even bigger guys who are invulnerable except for a couple weak points, who then are like themselves are these kind of big one-on-one centerpiece fights, or often two-on-one. Like they're these very fairly straightforward archetypes that all blend together amazingly. Like the way group AI works in Halo, I think is just incredible. It's just so far above other games. But then you have these Prometheans that it's just like a laundry list of stuff they do, and they come along with these little shitty dogs that are just robot dogs
with gun heads.
They explode in one hit to a head just like a grunt does, except their behavior is less interesting. They have no weapon variety. And they're not even funny, right? Like grunts are even funny, and like the dogs aren't even that. There's just the Prometheans are just boring as hell. Well, and then the big guys like if you're not close enough to them, they take unless you don't have a sniper rifle will tear anything apart. But like if you, again, playing on Legendary, if you're not up close and you don't have sufficient long range ammo, it's just the most boring fight ever. You just have to pick away at them until you eventually get through their shields, and then you headshot them. And it's just, you don't have any of that same dynamism. There are occasional bits of it. Like you can end up in a situation where you have a shotgun and you're up close and you're dodging around the guy, and then you've got that great Halo combat. But there's nothing happening there that couldn't just happen with elites, which generally tend to come in interesting packs that are a lot. Like a pack of Prometheans just means, I guess I'm just gonna have no bullets left at the end of this. Like it's just here we go. Like these
so when
guys
you look
are
at the
Prometheans,
I'm
going to shoot them.
They got those skulls in their heads though.
Yeah, it really drags the game down for me. Whenever I run into those guys, I'm like, here I go. I wish I would fight some Covenant again soon. And I'll have a lot of fun.
So it kind of makes sense, right? Because like the Prometheans are the new addition that like 343 put in the game.
I know,
like,
exactly.
Which is kind of amazing. Like I have a feeling that if you told people at 343 that the first part of Halo 4 where you're like, it's just more Halo and you're kind of funny. Like if you told them that as a complaint, they would be pretty stoked. Like that they managed to take what Bungie did and like recreate it.
I don't think that's true, because if they would have been excited about that, they wouldn't have. What it feels to me like they're like, all right, we got to make our mark on this. We got to design a surprising enemy that's totally different. But it just doesn't. It doesn't. It feels like it.
Right. What I mean to say is that it was probably enough of a challenge just to be able to recreate Halo.
The guys who did the first few chapters are probably stoked if you tell them I really had a good classic Halo time playing that beginning part of the game.
They're like, man, we like took Bungie's because they had to like probably just kind of crib from Bungie and figure out how they did what they did. And I'm sure there's this alchemy to it that like is very difficult to reproduce.
I'm sure it's hard.
And then it's like then they had to go and also like make something new, which is like kind of less interesting.
It just bums me out because it's like it's totally inevitable to some degree, right? Like they're not going to put out Halo 4 and just have it be a pretty good Halo game that is like Bungie's Halo game. But also, I don't think it needs anything added. Unless, I mean, you say that, but of course it's obviously possible it's clearly there's some universe in which there is a new enemy type that actually is novel and interesting and elemental. I mean, elemental is what's key to me. Like, enemy types in Halo feel core. They feel elemental. Like, yes, these guys represent key behavior that is part of an interesting group. And the new Prometheans,
it's like an ecosystem.
Like they unto themselves are like this whole bevy of behaviors that are just...
The way you're describing it seems like the Prometheans were built to almost like come in at a 30-degree angle off of the Halo stuff and like mix it up, be a disruptive element. But that...
I just don't.
It doesn't seem like it's what you
they have
want.
to fit in with.
Not for me. And
when you're fighting them alongside Covenant, so it's like they have to fit in somehow. They have to be different enough that it's not just like
but then
you're
it just ends up me like I just take out all of the Covenant first if I can because then it'll just give me more time to just sink bullets into the. I don't know. And I'm sure. Okay, I haven't read any reviews of Halo 4. Like I really actually genuinely have no idea what the response is to this game. So it's totally possible.
It was positive.
It's totally possible I'm way out in left field on this.
No.
Maybe other people
I'm with you. Like,
agree.
I actually think it's like nowhere near as special as a lot of reviewers say it is, which I feel, people love Halo and everything. And like, and I've played.
I love Halo.
I mean,
even the Halos that I
even like, I think the story is ridiculous, but
the story's terrible,
I still like Halo. Like, it's fun to play, like, for all the reasons you described.
Even Halo 2, which is really maligned, I still enjoyed that game. I mean, just what goes on in Halo at its core, I think is just so well put together that it's hard for me to just not enjoy it. And I'm still enjoying it enough that I've played through 6 full campaign chapters in Legendary on my own. Like I'm clearly not having a terrible time with this, or I wouldn't have bothered. I'm going to keep playing it for that matter. It's just I feel like I'm doing it by like scrabbling in the dirt for these awesome little bits of gold that I'm finding, but I'm having to just shovel through a lot of stuff that's just kind of okay. Like it's just, I don't know. It bums me out. I'm looking forward to playing co-op, Jake, with you and Sean when Sean's back, because
it'll be more enjoyable for you probably.
Yeah, well, and again, there's plenty of stuff that's fun that I'm having.
You
fun
can watch me running around like an idiot.
I'm just so bummed out at these Prometheans. I feel like they're just they're either a missed opportunity or they just shouldn't have been attempted. Like I don't know what, but I really dislike it. I have to raise this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because I had this conversation with Sean this past week and he made, I think the correct point to me, which is that this is just part of a much larger issue that we're not going to be able to address in any significant depth. But man, do I just think Cortana is just the tackiest in this game. It's just they really went above and beyond in making her just.
There's a line where she's like,
big
"It's
old,
near the beginning." What does she say? She's like, "Don't leave a girl hanging." Or what's the?
I need you, Chief. Like it's
pretty intense. And I was like,
it's just so transparently pandering. It's really hard for me to
yeah. She's just said it's like don't leave a girl hanging or like something.
She says that too. She says that actually multiple times.
Yeah, it's just very. I was like,
there's the "I need you, Chief" is the one that gets me because it's just her looking into the camera and it's like,
you're like really.
All right, I guess this is what a video gamer needs.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
I know.
And she's not even like a translucent hologram anymore. Really,
no, right?
She's basically like just a naked girl with huge tits and huge hips in blue body paint. That's like.
Well, I mean, Avatar did awesome in the box office.
I didn't see Avatar. I mean, yeah, it's got blue people in it, but like,
it's got hot blue chicks.
Like,
that's the same idea.
I don't know. Someone posted on the Idle forum. Someone posted an image that was like the evolution of Cortana going from Halo 1. Okay, and I need to say, I've always thought Cortana is a really stupid character. Like, I've never bought sexy computer lady like having a relationship with Master Chief. Like, that's just kind of laughable to me from the start. But just ratcheting it up over the course of the series, but then specifically between Halo 3 and 4 is out of control if you look at her character design side by side. Like it just jumps.
Maybe with Halo 5 they're going to reimagine a more realistic Cortana in the style of the new Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider, yeah.
She'll go through some trauma and stuff.
Yeah. Oh God.
She's going through. I'm just skipping the cutscenes at this point. I just can't even it's just so absurd to me.
You know what's her name is in it? Femshep is in the game.
Isn't she Cortana?
No,
she's not.
That's Jen, someone else. No, she plays the badass.
The scientist lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some
Halo
good voice
4.
actors in Halo 4.
I wish it was okay to make a game like Halo and just have it be a game and just not have it be a crazy, ridiculous space opera saga.
What do you mean have it be a game?
I don't know. I don't understand why. Because when I play Halo, the actual thing Halo's about is just the kineticism and the interplay between your mobile unit and the enemies. There's nothing about it that's achieving any human insight to me at all.
So you mean firefight?
Other than in just the pure physical conflict, but it's like sports or something. That's what I mean. It's
Halo feels like sports. I think.
Yeah.
You want Halo Arena?
No, I mean I don't even single player campaigns. Totally fine. It's weird to me that so much effort is put into this storytelling layer that has absolutely zero to do with what the game itself is about, which is just a contest.
That's a pretty
of
common.
No, I know it is,
thing,
but
I
know.
In Halo, it feels pretty.
It's not
intense.
specific to Halo, but Halo. The reason I bring up Halo is because Halo is the one where the core of the combat experience to me feels feels so potent unto itself. It just the enemies designs. Well, except for maybe the Prometheans is one of the things that I'm not as crazy about them. But the Flood, I also don't think fulfill this. But the Covenant specifically, those enemy designs feel totally born out of the gameplay. The fiction to me feels totally subservient to that stuff. They can do this crazy sidestep dodge because it's good in gameplay. The grunts are tiny because it makes sense in the enemy composition. Everything about it is totally derives from the gameplay demands, and it's just. Everything else to me in Halo is just totally secondary. It's just it's insignificant compared to the incredibly powerful, incredibly robust combat simulation they have going on, and tying it to this ostensible personal story about a man and a computer, a woman in a computer. It's just weird. I know it's not unique to Halo, and it's not unique to Halo 4 by any means.
It stands out.
I just
in the
don't
game,
get it.
And their story is
it doesn't make any sense to
particularly.
me.
Honestly, Halo lore is particularly ridiculous.
Yeah.
But there are people who love Halo.
I know.
lore.
I know there are, and that's why it's a silly thing to bring up, I guess, because the reason they do this is obviously because there's an audience for it. But I just don't.
It's weird because I don't know. I don't play enough actual AAA console games at this point to be able to talk about this in a way that means anything. But honestly, just sort of looking back from just sort of the evolution of this type of game from the mid-90s to now, I would have personally actually thought that the heavy amount of cutscene-based storytelling would have dropped off more than it has. We were watching the opening of Assassin's Creed 3 and Far Cry 3 today, and I just started playing Halo 4 a week ago. It is actually kind of weird to me because all of that stuff, and it makes me feel like an old person. Right. But when I see that stuff, my brain still maps it to, wow, we as an industry just got CD-ROM drives so we can fill half of it with a movie. And it's weird that is so entrenched at this point.
You don't see it in every game. I mean, you talk about Dishonored. Dishonored
no, it's not every game.
And actually, Far Cry 3 doesn't have proper cutscenes. They're all that thing at the beginning is the closest it comes.
Sure,
it's actually there are cutscenes, but they're first person. People are talking to you. But Assassin's Creed 3 is egregious. Playing that game feels crazy. Especially 3. You spend the first 6 hours of that game.
One could though conceivably
going from cutscene to cutscene.
If there wasn't the fan base at this point, the lore contingent of the Halo fan base, you could make a game that has the combat encounters and mechanics and even aesthetic setting of Halo, but is structured like Far Cry 3.
Well, it's funny. Right. It makes it Marathon, right? That's the Marathon's where all that lore started, basically.
Right.
And those.
Marathon is way more classic, though. Marathon is read computer terminals and stuff like that. But
that's what I'm saying. You can basically do that in Halo and have that kind of
you couldn't as a
rather than push
as a modern big game.
But they do that in Halo now. They have all these terminals.
Oh, that's right.
But it's funny how
they just also have endless cutscenes and stuff.
You would think that they'd there's this trend toward reboots that's happening right now. Everyone's out of ideas, and so they're rebooting everything, and that's actually kind of great. Like, it's fine. Like,
So
you
we're
would
gonna
think
get the
Halo
Halo?
4 could have... Well, that would have been fine, though, right? Like, if they had just been like, the Halo and your Master Chief, and maybe there's, there's no Cortana.
The Halo and your
maybe,
Halo.
you're not on a Halo planet, you're just a Halo.
No, you're Halo, yeah.
You're Halo.
You play Halo in that game.
Right, you play your Halo. And there's no Cortana or anything, and it's all about the combat. And like,
In the reboot, your name is Halo. Let's just just call this
Very
what
important.
it is.
Yeah, like,
But it's like, it's so funny because I feel like at this point, like, just the stakes have been raised too much for that to ever happen. Like, no one's going to give on that.
well, people are doing it though. Like,
guess so.
they're doing
I
it
mean,
with Tomb
not
Raider.
with the- I
like,
don't think you could do it
you
with
are
a-
the Tomb Raider.
Well,
And like, no longer, but you no longer, it's like no longer her like
that's true.
crazy
But
evil
that's just
twin and all
that's
that
just a
stuff.
paring down of weird cruft that they've accrued. That's not
Right. Well,
a
yeah,
fundamental change in how they're. Is it? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think enough games are kind of doing that kind of thing, like where they're rebooting the whole idea and like ditching all like cruft that they accrue is actually a good thing to get rid of. Like Halo
I
has
agree.
way too much of that. Like,
believe me,
and Halo
I
4
agree on
brings it
that.
all back, and you're like, really? Like, you guys could have kind of and it's simpler, I guess, than Halo 3, which was just nonsensical. But at least there's no flood, right?
It actually is kind
4.
of, now that you've said that, you've made me really sad with Halo in particular, which is stupid because I have never even really played a Halo game, but it seems like we're at this point in the life cycle of consoles that now would actually be the only time you could probably justify giving your audience, this is our drill down back to the core of what it is, because the next ones of these that come out, I imagine, are going to be on new hardware. So that's what everyone's like, give me 400,000 new features. Give me the stupidest shit you can come
Well, and that's
up
like
with.
what they did with Halo 4. It is like it's
That was
kind of a new
something
trilogy.
I really liked
like
about ODST. Like, I mean, ODST felt like, I think I forget what the reaction to that game was, and I'm sure it still had a lot of dumb story stuff in it. I can't even really remember. But the thing that I do remember about that game,
jazz, is that it had jazz in it.
One, it had fucking jazz.
Yeah,
so
there was some
good,
jazz
good
happening.
job.
Yeah, that's what I remember about that game.
Also, like, they really took a fairly, I thought, admirable approach for Halo, which was just the entire structure of this game is based around being able to toss you into whatever encounter we want. Like, next. Like, now it's a flashback to this with this thing because we think that's what it needs to be. Like, there was no attempt to, like, string it together with some convoluted thing. It was just, oh, yeah, you're remembering back to this thing that happened at this time. And, like, that's, to me, that was a great way to, like, not just discard the notion of having a narrative
Of course,
in your
like,
game.
pissed off a bunch of Halo fans because they're like, I want to know what happened to Master Chief. Yeah, like, well, there are a lot of people who don't like that game because it was like...
Whatever. You could make a game with Master Chief that's still just... I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
right,
even
sure,
understand
sure.
what difference that makes. Like,
Yeah.
you're an invisible guy inside a suit.
Right.
Like, it's not... I don't know.
No, right. And like, well, but I mean, and that's actually like, like what Far Cry does from game to game is like it's like you're not the Jackal in Far Cry 3. Like there's no carryover. Like there was no carryover
you should
from
just
Far
assume
Cry
that the
1.
main character's name in Far Cry 1, 2, and 3 is Far Cry.
Right, Far Cry.
I mean,
so Far Cry it is not the Jackal in Far Cry 3.
Right.
Man, what games we played that we liked a lot? Well, you liked Far Cry 3 a lot.
I did. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
I liked Hitman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good game. A lot of people didn't. That was a divisive game.
Is it out?
It is out.
Okay,
Yeah,
I haven't
it's
played
out.
it yet.
It came out like last week. Yeah, I'm nervous about it now because I liked it. I thought it was cool, and then a lot of people who I really respect didn't like it and said it's terrible.
So you might not be cool anymore.
I know. I'm like, well, I'm no longer like right about everything. That sucks. No, I think it's fun. So I'm pretty. It made me like second guess myself, but then I went back and was like, no, this game is pretty fun.
Yeah.
So I liked it, but I think it was solid. It was a good game.
I started playing, over Thanksgiving, I started playing Waking Mars. Did either of you guys play that?
Yeah, I played it on iPad.
I just started it. Like I just got it and started it.
Have you done anything in it yet? Or
Just like the first few screens. Like I literally
It's cool.
just like the other day.
Okay, so you haven't started messing with the simulations and stuff yet? Okay. It's really interesting. I mean, it's a really cool concept. It's from Tiger Style, the guys who did Spider, Bryce.
which I really liked.
I did too. I did
Game.
too. I completely. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
The thing I mainly like about about Waking Mars is how just subdued it is. It's really
the tone and the feeling of the game is really cool.
It's a cool
Yeah.
kind of sci-fi.
It is.
It's
It's stupid and obvious, but it
It's like
reminds me of
Moon.
the Dig.
Yeah.
I was going to say exactly the
Well,
Dig.
it feels like the Dig,
like-
even the way they
Yeah.
move
Well, it's
around.
just
feels
guys
like
in
the
suits
Dig-
work in this weird
Talking on
stoic
radios.
alien
Yeah.
environment, talking on radios.
Well, yeah, but kind of in a lighthearted way, right? Like it's not like Moon
It's
or
funnier
Alien or
than it was
something.
definitely
Like, it's-
funnier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of just lighthearted dialogue. I just turned
Yeah.
the voice acting off because it was really detracting
Yeah,
to
yeah.
me. But
Oh, I haven't actually run the update yet. I downloaded it ages ago before the video
I
came in.
only downloaded it a few
But
days
yeah,
ago.
it's got that really subdued and calm atmosphere.
Yeah.
But then, that weird sort of lighthearted astronaut banter. It's weird.
Which is kind of funny. Sometimes I think it's a little too lighthearted in the way that it feels like
it's a little goofy,
a show for kids about astronauts or something. But like most of the time, it's fine.
Yeah.
But the thing that reminded me of The Dig is that it felt like a game that The Dig wanted to be but couldn't because it was an adventure game. Like The Dig wanted to be about all of these crazy systems and like interlinked.
The Dig felt like it was LucasArts trying to do a Myst game to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where it's all about like adjusting mirrors to create light bridges and to like piecing together puzzles that these weird little bespoke pieces that then sort of kind of move something halfway across the map.
But
like,
can you imagine a version of that though, where those things are actual, like based in systems, like an actual ray of light is reflected? And
but I never expected that. I never expected The Dig to be that, or I never really thought the team was trying to do that.
I didn't either when I played it. This is a retroactive thought I had when playing. Mars. Not a
but it seems like
desire I had
a system-driven version of the sorts of things that you.
Well, it seems cool, right? Like
I guess what I mean is, it feels like a game that The Dig wanted to be, not necessarily the team wanted to make. Like I can imagine The Dig, like a version of that whose best expression is closer to Waking Mars,
right?
Where you're uncovering these weird properties of an alien world and learning how they work.
Right, that's kind of the key. Is like you get to actually see how it works.
Lock and key. Whereas in Waking Mars, it's actually modeled, and it's really cool. And I like that a lot. When you start getting into the kind of big rooms where you end up there's tons of biomass. So for people who don't know what this game is, you essentially this sounds weird, but you collect seeds. And you plant them, and then plants like immediately sprout and have properties. And some of them are like aggressive and they'll damage you, and some of them shoot out a little water droplet, and some of them. There's just tons of different kinds, and they all interact with each other in interesting ways that end up raising or lowering like the total quantity of what they just call biomass. And so what you're trying to do is create these large systems that are in something relatively close to equilibrium, so you can raise this biomass number high, but keep the plants from like causing each other die out because there are too many of these and they have an adverse effect on
or hurting you.
Yeah. And it gets really tough to maintain these levels at really high concentration, which leads to eventually the thing that kind of burned me out on the game, which is that you never really do anything else other than just hit an arbitrarily high number. Like the thing that makes it less cool than some simulations is that ultimately the simulation only exists to perpetuate the simulation, but nothing emerges out of that. Nothing is ever going to happen other than plants will die or not die. But like that's not going to have an effect that goes beyond the scope of any just individual plant living or not, which kind of bummed me out in a way. Because, I think a really cool simulation will... The thing that's ultimately lasting about it, I think, is that out of that simulation something emerges beyond the strict just number associated with that thing. Like in SimCity or...
Well, it's like SimCity or the Anno games or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like things are suggested by certain things happening at certain times or in proximity to other things. Yeah. But in this game, nothing's suggested other than some plants didn't manage to live, which is a bummer. But it's not a reason not to play the game.
Oh, yeah.
Because until you reach
I played it back on iPad. I played I think I did our gaming app on it. For Kotaku a while ago.
Real quick, those guys are trying to come out on PC.
Yeah,
and
on
so
Greenlight.
They've been on Greenlight for ages, but they haven't gotten through yet. So
yeah, they need votes.
If you want to go vote for Waking Mars on Greenlight, the Tiger Style guys are really cool.
Yeah, they are cool. And and Spider was super cool.
Randy Smith is one of those guys, and he's like a classic PC immersive sim guy. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh yeah, that I played it mostly. I saw one of them gave a cool talk. I'm trying to think who it was at GDC. It was pretty technical, but I dug it. And it was just about how they designed the sort of ecosystems and got them to work. And I loved Spider to death. I thought that game was super cool. Yeah, it was really good. And it was funny, it's funny reading there. I think, was it Randy Smith who wrote an Edge editorial, and it was about how Greenlight is
Oh, he did write that.
It was cool. It was about what people want in Greenlight and what isn't. I thought it was really interesting. And it was here's what I see on Greenlight succeeding. And it was Half-Life mods, first-person shooters, survival games, zombies, yeah. And he's our game, he's we learned, our game has been on Greenlight this whole time and still doesn't get any attention. He's it was something really just depressing. It was like, like our video that we put up got like 4 views like in the first week that it was on Greenlight.
Greenlight is weird. I've still yet to be convinced of
Greenlight.
No, because there's stuff getting green. Like I saw this game on Kickstarter that was like, we've been successfully greenlit. But it was like, you look at the Kickstarter pitch and you're like, what? Right. What is this? Like, what does that mean that you got greenlit, but now we need to find this funding in Kickstarter? And the game is just like a fraction, and it didn't even seem like it was on its route to actually reach its funding, which makes me wonder what it means that it got greenlit.
Well, just people voted for it.
No, well, I know what it literally means,
right,
but I'm like, what does that signify about the audience or anything? Like, it's just very odd. And then you have something like Waking Mars, which is totally done. Right. Like, it's a finished game that is good.
They just want to put it on Steam.
It's like, we just want to put this on your store. Like, it's just...
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird.
The same example that I brought up the first time we were talking about Greenlight is Dave Gilbert of Wadjet Eye Games.
Yeah.
And as predicted, like he's had, at this point, he finally, like his like indie team / small adventure game publisher had one of their games win in the IGF, and that game made it onto Steam pre-Greenlight.
Which one was it?
Oh man, I've now discovered
the one where you're like
a Blackwell game.
No, it was a sort of futuristic noir game. Gemini Rue.
Oh, Gemini Rue. Yeah,
Gemini Rue was in the IGF, and that ended up on Steam. I think because Steam just de facto publishes IGF winners, which is really cool. But that opened the door for him to get the Blackwell games on, which was his sort of big franchise. But then he just put out a new game called Primordia, and the people at Steam said, we think this seems like a Greenlight title.
Yeah,
and then he had to run a huge campaign to get all of his fans to vote the game up, and it hit 100%
because
he put
a bunch of games on Steam before.
But he's a registered Steam developer. He has a working agreement with them. At least, I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked to that guy in ages, but that clearly is the case because he was publishing games on Steam when you had to have a contractual agreement with Valve. So he presumably has or had a rep there, and. Yeah, he just went onto the Wadjet Eye Twitter account saying, whoops, this game got kicked down to Greenlight, so vote it up. And that's the thing that I was always in the back of my mind expecting / hoping Valve would not do.
Right.
Like, you're already proven successful on the old model. Why make those people use the new model?
Right. Yeah.
It's weird.
It's very strange.
But it's also just frustrating in that he then immediately just went whoop up to 100%. So, like, why...
Right.
Like, that's a waste of everyone's time.
Right.
Well,
and that you have to appeal to a certain thing. Like, they talked about like Waking Mars is a tough sell. Like it's a really cool game that, and I'm playing it on iPad. I was like, as iPad games go, like as iPhone games go, it's like this really deep, interesting, kind of really cool game. And like I'm playing it like, I'm trying to write it up in really glowing terms, hoping people give a shit. But like, I don't know, like people who are looking for iPhone games don't really care. It's a really difficult game to describe. Like, and like he said, compared to Spider, it like sold didn't sell close to as much as
sucks,
Spider.
But I'm not surprised at all. But
no, right? Because like Spider's such a simpler game.
Yeah, Spider was the first game that made me actually think that I would enjoy playing a game on my mobile device.
Whereas I don't enjoy controlling my guy on an iPad.
That's the other thing is that like Waking Mars isn't fun to play. Right, it's not fun to play on PC.
It's like a game that should have just targeted Steam first, and then if it was successful there, then start bringing it elsewhere.
Yeah.
But like the whole point of getting on something like Steam is so that you get it on there and then people give it a shot because it's on Steam, right? Whereas on Greenlight, you have to already get people to be excited about it. Like whereas when something shows up in the new releases on Steam, like I don't know all the games that are on Greenlight, not even close. Whereas I always know everything that's in the new releases tab because it's front and center. It's right there. It's really easy for me to just click on new releases and be like, is there anything here I'm even remotely interested in? And that's what a game like Waking Mars needs. It needs at least that discoverability. Like, and it just
and on the
out
App
that's
Store,
not
it doesn't
feasible.
get that either.
No, it doesn't at all get on the App Store. Yeah.
It's a good game though.
This has been a lot of negativity. I want to go back to something that is awesome about Halo. I only really talked about the things that were negative to me about Halo 4, but there's something that's just great about Halo in general, including Halo 4, which it's so nice to be playing it in a big AAA game because I feel like recently this has been the province of almost purely smaller games. Which are great too. Like that's not bad, but like is the Super Meat Boy like ability to jump into an overwhelming situation and know that you can try it again right away, and so without a bunch of bullshit, right? Like in Halo, they're pretty good about you die and you're back pretty quick. It's not Super Meat Boy fast, but like you're back in there pretty quickly, and because Halo has that. In the good combat encounters anyway, right? Like mainly the ones with Covenant, like although sometimes Prometheans too. you like internalize the exact state that your game was in when at the point where the checkpoint autosave is, and when you come back. So when you come back in, you're already forming this like mental map of where these guys are, and they're like, all right, I'm going to try something crazy. I'm just going to run straight through the middle with a shotgun, like blast that guy, jump behind those weird obelisk things with guns in them, like pick up the different, like the plasma pistol, like run out, like it's just you form these things in your head and you try them instantly, and you go. Like every Halo game I've played before, I started at least on just heroic, and then before I would start on either, what was the second one below heroic? I don't remember, but the normal, I guess, and then or heroic. And on this one, I hadn't played Halo for like 2 years probably, and I deliberately went right into legendary because I just wanted, like, it had been so long since I had this experience. I just wanted that like
mainline
brutality. Yeah, I wanted to just butt up against it, and it's awesome. Like, I'm really glad I did. Again, especially in the Covenant parts, but like there's something awesome about just going up against these situations that are going to be totally different for anyone who came into this encounter, right? Like the starting state of every encounter is going to be the same for everybody, but then as soon as you get more than one checkpoint in, like there's so many variables. Like what weapon have you been toting
I do like
the entire
that, right?
time?
Like how many grenades do you have? How much ammo do you have?
Yeah,
like thing? Like, and you always reload with the same.
Where did this guy strafe
stuff.
to? Like,
you're like, how can I use what I've got?
Yeah, and I love that so much in Halo. And it's something that is. I mean, they're probably. I guess there are maybe other games that do this, but I'm not as aware of them in the AAA space for some reason. Like, I don't.
No, it feels.
Know a lot of games that
it does feel
like,
specific to Halo.
Yeah,
even if it doesn't.
It has this like robustness to that simulation that just like running into it again and again is so satisfying to me. Like the way when we were actually, it's very similar to the way I was describing Super Meat Boy Galaxy last week or the week before, where there's this notion of like I always want to try the thing that I think is just past the point of safety.
Right.
So like I always
or
want
Hotline Miami, I think was the other thing we were talking about.
Yeah. Oh man.
Like right, and see, and those are both these like small little games. Super Meat Boy the same. Like Halo, but Halo is this big AAA 3D thing, and like, and it gives me the same feeling where it's like I want to push myself just beyond like this comfort level, and like when it pays off so.
It's always
big
the fucking
that it's
best.
just unbelievable. Right. Like I really wanted to when I started up Halo 4, I really wanted to just turn on the Idle Thumb stream and just be like, watch me go into Legendary Cold and see how badly I get my ass kicked. But like couldn't end up getting the stream working, so I didn't do it, which bummed me out. But like just because I was so like excited to be having that experience again, I wanted to like share it with people. Which is really goofy and kind of embarrassing, but like but whatever. I just wanted to bring that up because that specific quality is something that I feel is very rarely present in like big 3D shooters and stuff like that, and I really appreciate it in Halo.
You guys want to take a break for a sec?
Sure.
Yeah.
Video games.
Someday you'll get a dragon. What are you doing with this dragon?
Wizard. The Wizard.
All right, we're back.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, we're going to do some reader mail.
Oh, hi.
That's what we do on
Oh, hey, guys.
Hey, hello.
Hey, Kirk, we do this thing called reader mail where readers send us mail.
Oh, and then
By
we
readers,
read it.
I mean people who listen to our podcast.
I would have thought that it was like about your male readers or something like that.
That's just our readers.
Right.
So-
Readers, male.
Hopefully not. Hopefully that's not actually true. What I said.
Our reader's
Probably
mail.
true, so.
Right.
Okay, Fraser McMillan says, Dear Idle Thumbs, regarding what Chris said about the feeling he gets from playing slightly dangerously or recklessly in Super Meat Boy, I think this is something games are capable of doing successfully. I'm with Jake in that Hotline Miami provides something similar. So this guy's basically just saying the things we just said. This guy
He was listening to this
right.
episode,
already
actually.
knew exactly what we were going to say.
Yeah.
You guys were just right about everything.
I'm with Jake in that Hotline Miami provides something similar. It's much more
He's
fun to
me.
treat it as a haphazard and exceptionally violent series of semi-improvised rehearsals. You pick a rough route and method and attempt to do it as quickly as possible. That one time you clear the floor in 40 insane seconds is what pumps your face full of adrenaline. I think the Burnout series invokes the same sensation. My favorite event is Road Rage because it gives you the impression you're just barely hanging on. When you're traveling at 150 miles per hour and make a series of incredible near misses in a row, it gives you the most insane rush. Those moments form a massive part of that game's appeal. VVVVVV probably does the same thing, but it's more forced. I mean that in a neutral way. The game doesn't give you the option of playing it safe. You kind of have to play it on edge in a super reactive way, even if you're meticulous about the setup. That's totally true.
This guy, so
This guy's very thoughtful.
This is revealing to me all of the video games that I like are apparently this kind of game because these are all of my favorite games, and it's also my play style that ruins every other game that I try to play, basically.
Right.
Because I'm a seat of the pants idiot. Okay. No, listen.
What makes games so successful? It's stuff like that, he asks. Have you got thoughts on further examples? The cast has been great. Thanks. Keep it up. Cheers, Fraser. Yeah. Also, the thing he said about a series of rehearsals, that is, I love that metaphor because what it reminds me of is practicing music the wrong way. It's like when you're trying to nail a piece, and instead of like taking it, like trying to just play it at a consistent tempo, even if it's a slower tempo than you should, like trying to nail the rhythm, like trying to play it at the pace you can before you ratchet it up. It's just barreling into it constantly all the time and just hitting. And that's a terrible way to practice music. Like,
right.
It's a really inefficient way of doing it. You'll never get anywhere. Well, you get somewhere eventually, but it's incredibly inefficient. But in games, it can be awesome if it's in a game that actually supports that, because who cares, right? Like you're not actually
it's that
trying
exciting
to be,
feeling of being just out of control, which you don't want when you're learning a piece of music.
No, you don't.
You want to slow it down and play it, but Hotline Miami definitely feels that way.
Really
I'm sure you guys already talked about it, but I love that analogy. That's really astute.
Yeah.
Like you're rehearsing this kind of super deadly dance that you just want to get right, and you just can't, and you keep dying and dying and dying and dying, and then you finally kind of do, and it feels so exciting.
And he's totally right about VVVVVV as well, because that's one where that game will just won't let you. Like it's not even a matter of personal choice. Like it pushes back in a way that is really impressive. I like that game a lot. Actually, Jake, when you were saying these are games you like, because that was a game he said worked differently, but did you like that game or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
I like it.
It's been so long since I played the game that I don't have a lot to say about VVVVV, but like we've talked about this before. When I sit down and play a GTA game, I don't give a fuck about any of the missions. I basically just turn it into a near miss havoc simulator where I'm basically just playing that game in survival mode always.
Yeah.
But like that's the best kind of video game. It's the only kind. It's why Sean goes fucking apeshit when we're co-oping anything, because I'm just like, hey, what's going on? And then he's actually caring.
And that's what's funny is that's not a thing that is like core to my enjoyment. It's a thing that I love in some games, but like I'll play Dishonored and not be that way at all. Like,
no, you'll play Dishonored and be like, you're like Batman who just sits there on top of a thing looking out on the city for the entire night.
Yeah. But in games that do it well, I love it. I love that feeling. Yeah. Yes, so I think we agree. He asked if we can think of any other examples. I kind of got to that point with Mark of the Ninja. I talked about that a couple weeks ago, where the game didn't start out that way for me, but like especially in my New Game Plus run through, it just became that where I would just barrel into everything. And actually, the cool thing about that is I would do it and then not get seen at all, which is crazy because usually that play style comes along with just ripping everything apart. But in Mark of the Ninja, once you get your little blink thing. It just you can be that, but also still be a ghost, which is totally crazy. Not crazy, but it was cool.
There were times when playing Super Meat Boy that I ended up in that where you're like, you're
absolutely
sort of walking the fine line between being in a really zen state and also just being a reckless maniac. Actually, really late game Super Mario Sunshine was like that for me, which is weird, but that's because that game out of all of the Mario games was to me the one that had the most. Of the 3D Mario games, that was actually the most reliant on you making a lot of really intense spatial maneuvers. Like Galaxy has that stuff, but it's more about like the grandiose swoops. And Mario 64 had a little bit of it, but that game still just looked like fucking 3D lemmings. But Sunshine, where you'd do all these weird hops and you were hoping that your spatial perception of the Z depth worked, and then firing off the stupid little flood cannon to give yourself a little extra hang time and stuff like that. That game. Yeah. That was a rare Mario platformer that I got through and then decided to flip back and play the opening of it again and just fucking wrecked shop all the way through the first half of the game in just a couple nights, and it was gratifying mechanically in a way that I don't really actually associate with those games. I always associate just sort of fun and clean, but not like actual agile movement. It was, I don't know, that game is
totally.
But just balls out Mario. That's what I call that game. It's really gross. It's a gross image.
The time trials from Mirror's Edge were kind of that way for me. Like the regular game isn't really, because you have to really know there's going to be a guy on the door.
But you're sort of, your abilities get just good enough that you decide that you're just going to say fuck all and go and
I love those levels. All right. Josh Bossy says, "Hey Thumbs, I was reading Twitter and I saw an Onion article from 2000 retweeted by Jake. The article was titled Area Man Consults Internet Whenever Possible, poking fun at a guy who always preferred to use the internet over, at the time, the more convenient real-life options like a book or a phone. The joke being that 12 years later, this is very much the reality because of vast improvements to the internet and how we access it. It made me think about what kind of gaming practices were mocked years ago that are now instead accepted as standard in the present day. My first thought was DLC, labeled at one point microtransactions and largely mocked, Horse Armor, for example. It has since become an industry standard for pretty much every game and genre. Can you think of other examples, or can you try and predict what things we make fun of today that could be accepted in the future? Love the show, Josh." DLC is an amazing example.
Yeah, DLC.
Like the key to that.
Yeah, DLC is the ultimate one. Although the DLC that was mocked early on is kind of different than the DLC that exists at this point. Well,
now we just have even more crazy versions of that.
Well, DLC, the thing that people weren't expecting to also be, like when people were talking about DLC, it was the Jay Allard at GDC saying, get rims for your car and Need for Speed.
Yeah, but we have all of that.
But
now.
DLC also as a term includes Minerva's Den, or also
That's
includes
true.
the Ballad of Gay Tony.
And DLC back then included Shivering Isles for Oblivion. Like, that came out not that long after the Horse Armor.
The microtransactions part of DLC is the insane part, but the acceptance that exists for that type of DLC is off the charts. Like, free to play is that only. That's the only monetization option, is the thing that was the laughingstock of gamer culture a decade ago. The problem with all of these things is that the prediction that you laugh at now that then becomes the norm is usually terrible.
Right, because you were laughing at it for a reason.
Yeah, you laugh at it because you're just like, oh god, is this what's okay?
Well, Idle Thumbs for like a year felt like it was nothing but that, where we would like just all the horrible future of game stuff that kept coming true.
Yeah, where we, like.
I can't even think of
the one that I'm the most proud of / sad is the Tony Hawk controller.
Right.
Where we made stupid jokes about that goddamn fucking plastic skateboard, and then it was real, and then it was lame.
Yeah.
That era has sort of faded, which is good.
Still waiting on the horse bag.
Where the fuck is that horse bag?
Nintendo, Kirk, if you didn't remember this or know this, several years ago, Nintendo patented a peripheral that is an inflatable horse that you sit on.
It's like an inflatable horse back.
It's just a bag. It's not.
It's supposed to just be the back of the horse. It's like a lump, like an inflated sphere with a saddle, and then a plug, like a hole that you jam a Wii remote into that then pairs this horse bag with your Wii, and then never came out. So
did you guys ever see the boat, the Kinect boat?
No.
There was a boat that came with Kinect that you would inflate.
Came with Kinect?
Or no, it was like paired with Kinect. It was like the game boat or something like that. I'm trying to remember. Steven Totila did an article. It was before I wrote for Kotaku.
To the game boat.
It was like such a perfect Kotaku article. And Steven did it before I worked there. And it was like this picture of him in his apartment with this hilarious inflated boat that he put in his living room in front of the TV that you're supposed to like. I think it was to play the Kinect game.
I hope that the box that this comes in says not a flotation device. Inflatable boat does not float. Like, do not use in a pool.
It's probably a real boat. It probably does work in a pool. It's probably just a boat that they bought from like a boat company that makes those.
That's also
Microsoft. The boys are cooking something up in the lab here. We bought this boat at Kroger.
we had a whole bunch of boats at Sam's Club that were like on sale.
Yeah, you peel back the word game and it just says inflatable. Like what?
And it wasn't. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Yeah, you'll have to find it. It was like it wasn't game. It was something like game.
No,
boat.
it was game boat.
It might have been the game boat.
It's Kinect
It was just brilliant.
Or game boat for Kinect.
That was the kind of thing that like and that whole idea of like the peripherals that you'll use with like a motion capture camera.
Yeah.
Like
which game boat for Kinect with
which
bears.
could be something that we make fun of it now and could become real in the future. I don't know if that's really was the question.
Could game boat become the next big peripheral?
Soon we have to carry a huge.
What is game boat?
I mean, there was that big thing.
There was a whole period where people released tons of just stupid plastic, like fake tennis rackets.
Bolt, a useless tennis.
Right.
I thought you said a tennis racket for your river boat. I was like, wow, Chris, you're getting a little carried away.
Remember when the game boat came out with that tennis racket peripheral?
Then everyone figures out you can just use your arm and you don't need the tennis racket. Hopefully that won't become real. That would be a real shame if it did.
Next gen Kinect. Look at what we can do
with the boat.
Recognize up to 6 simultaneous inflatable props.
Oh man,
could happen.
Yeah, it turns out you really just need to peel the QR code off the side of the game boat, and you just hold that up. You don't need the game boat.
No, right. And then it just thinks that there's a boat there.
Yeah.
Well, then it will just render the entire boat.
Right.
It is amazing what that thing can do. Actually, it's great.
The Kinect. Yeah. I am stupidly excited for Kinect Party.
Yeah,
like
cool.
we've talked about that a couple times. That fucking game.
The game gives you the boat. You don't need a boat. It puts the boat
Exactly.
on you.
That's what's crazy
That's
about
the magic
it.
of
I
it.
still get astonished sometimes when I play Kinect Party, and like it. The one that is amazing to me is the one that like lightning will hit you, and then you turn into a skeleton for a second, and like you see through the skeleton,
Right, because it's
Like,
managed to remember
'cause
what
it
room
knows
is
what's-
behind you.
I mean, it's,
Right.
but and the skeleton moves with you. I mean, it seriously almost feels like magic. It's stupid to say because you can understand how it works when you think
Right.
about it, obviously, but like it's the illusion is amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So what's a wacky thing?
I'm sure there's 800 million obvious examples what I'm thinking of right now, as always, whenever anyone asks us anything.
The death of retail. Oh, like
You know the funny thing about that is that that's already happened. Not really, but like that's happened to a way greater extent in everything else that isn't video games,
You know,
the
I would
digital
think that
form of
it is- okay.
entertainment.
You know what? I would think that a thing that people probably would have made fun of, and I don't know if they did, is the idea of always on DRM. Like, of a game that you have to be connected to the internet to play.
Even when it's a single.
oh, that is probably a thing that people like.
Like
Oh,
in
what's
like
next? You have to
1998,
move.
like, oh, you have to be connected to the
not gonna
internet
do
to
that,
play this.
whatever.
That'll never
Fucking-
happen. And then like Diablo 3
Take off the
comes out.
tinfoil hat.
Yeah, right. So I bet that is a thing that people made fun of that's real now.
Didn't Ubisoft finally give up on that?
They did. They totally backed off on it.
That's good.
Yeah.
PC gaming retail is actually dead,
Oh no, it's fully dead.
except for like MMO boxes, basically,
Right.
or like maybe the PC port of an Assassin's Creed game or something.
Or if you
but,
buy like a crazy like collector's
but like
edition.
you walk into a Best Buy or a GameStop, and the PC game shelf is literally just black varnished plastic that says "Get a Steam gift card."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's mind blowing to me. And then underneath that is a couple collector's games and some back stock.
As someone who like I only I really at this
GameStop
point,
just conceded entirely that
and they're
just
just like
Steam. Fuck
they
it.
sell Steam ag
well
games.
now
so-
at least they can sell something. They can at least sell the
Right.
Steam card.
Yeah, I guess they get a cut off that.
But the it was one of the things that was crazy to me when I played Halo 4. As someone who's basically only played PC games for the last couple of years, I realized Halo 4 was like the first game on a disc that I had bought in like 2 years.
Oh, when I bought Little Big Planet 2, that was the first one for me in a long time, and it was weird.
And even that game, like you can theoretically buy that game not on a disc.
I don't know if you could when it first
It's,
came
well,
out.
now actually Sony's getting them pretty quickly, like on the store. But yeah, no, now when it
Yeah,
came
that
out,
was cool. Good for
yeah,
them.
it is cool.
You can day and date a lot of AAA stuff on console at this point, or very, very close.
Not
to
on
that.
Xbox, but on
PlayStation?
PS3
Okay.
you can. Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, that's
Goddamn video games.
yeah, man. It's a wild changing world out there.
That's the future of, or whatever. I'm sorry we don't have any cool trends.
Yeah.
We could make some up right now.
Yeah,
Remember when everyone said that like everyone thought it was so ridiculous that games like Deus Ex were going to be the future?
and yet here we are.
Came to pass.
Oh man, that
Deus Ex
wacky joke
came.
about how really realistic flight sims are going to come back into the zeitgeist. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Trying to create some tropes here. No, I really don't want a realistic flight sim to be in the. I don't care about those.
I mean, they still make them.
I mean, they make them like what is it, Sturmovik, IL2 and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's Train Simulator, of course.
Yeah.
Remember when everyone made fun of Train Simulator?
Well,
and in 5 years, Train
yeah.
Simulator was all anyone made. It was like the
Well,
new
it
Call of
cracked
Duty.
me up when I saw that interview with the guy who works for the German company that like makes a lot of those sim games, and he's like, yeah, for like a couple years there, it was just a gold rush. You could make Crane Simulator, you could make Kitchen Simulator, you
street
could make
cleaning
any
simulator?
Just the streets were paved with gold. And now we really have to dial down to the core. Train Simulator, Farm Simulator, Bus Simulator. We've really identified those as like the core ongoing franchises, but really the craze has really died down for a lot of the peripheral simulators. Like, it was amazing.
What? Yeah, that simulator rush of '06.
Apparently so. Apparently, like 2 years ago or something,
Mm-hmm.
that was like when you started seeing just infinite of those on Steam, and I guess they were all successful, and then it just crashed.
I really liked that all of those used the same like white sort of tall italic font
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Microsoft
they're all
Flight
the
Simulator.
same.
I remember-
the same way that like
Hattenschweiler or whatever that font is.
when someone like someone realized that the simulator suffix was not actually trademarked, the same way that like 10 years ago someone realized that tycoon was not trademarked.
Right, I know,
So you could
yeah.
just put your gold gradient tycoon on the
Yeah.
name of any game you were making. You're like, oh, I love Tycoon series.
Yep.
I'll just
Fish
buy it.
Tycoon.
Dino Park Tycoon.
God, Fish
Classic.
Tycoon is the best.
I didn't play Fish Tycoon.
Oh, I remember at Telltale Games, really early on, we were in a lot of downloadable game portals, and we were always fucking pissed when we lost to Fish Tycoon.
You lost what?
Well, like we'd be in the rankings, like neck and neck with Fish Tycoon.
So Fish Tycoon is a recent game.
Fish Tycoon was like early mid 2000s.
So what do you like?
Dino
You
Park
like
Tycoon is like
Fish Tycoon was like
94.
it was
Like fish, or you have
I don't
like a
know.
fishery
There
or-
was like a tycoon suffix rush during sort of
No, I
the
remember.
like
90s.
Yeah.
but they also reemerged in the sort of casual
Oh, true.
games
There's
portal
Zoo-
things
Zoo
of like
Tycoon.
JP
Zune
Tycoon.
No, Zoo. JP was
Zune Tycoon.
Zune Tycoon. Oh, Jay Allard worked on Zune Tycoon.
No, Jay Allard was the Zune Tycoon.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Jay Allard Zune Tycoon.
It's weird that I'm just going to talk about random stuff, I guess. I thought that it was a really weird mistake that I would have thought Microsoft would have learned from when they split the Xbox 360 out into all the crazy variants with like the arcade version that has no hard drive and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they did the exact same thing with the Surface. It's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
Where it's like
The Surface is
they
weird.
market
I
the
don't-
Surface as being the tablet that you plug into the keyboard, but there's two different types of keyboards available, one of which has physical actual clicking keys, but still also rolls up into a case and weighs the same amount as the touchy only one.
Yeah.
But then also one of them is an ARM-based processor and one of them is an Intel-based processor that can run legacy stuff. Like there's two different CPU sets.
No, they're two totally different.
You would
machines.
think that after developers on the Xbox platform just fucking shat themselves when they said, oh, also some consumers won't have a hard drive in their Xbox. And some will. That maybe they wouldn't say,
Yeah, no, I remember
we're
that.
using
That was
the
ridiculous.
and now it's like they're using the Windows name for a tablet that won't run some Windows apps and one that like it's really mind blowing. That company like their hardware strategy seems to be the same, and it always feels like there's four different departments warring over what features their consumers actually want.
probably are.
And then instead of someone just making the call, they're like, well, maybe we can serve every audience with all these weird things.
Well, that's like Windows editions are the same way.
Not anymore, though. Starting with 7,
it's getting
they
better.
dropped it.
But-
They consolidated it way down.
But the thing that reminds me of, did you guys see the news today or whenever this week about the Canadian Wii variant that has no additional onboard storage and no internet connection? It can't connect to the internet.
No,
I thought that it just didn't have
I'm
Wi-Fi.
surprised I haven't seen this.
I thought that it was still able to use the USB Ethernet adapter.
Oh, really?
I don't know though. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
It has no storage at all. Like you can't. Oh, well, I guess that makes sense if it has no
internet.
If it has no ability to browse the Wii Shop channel.
So it's just you just put discs in
it's
it
just for
and play
disc-based
them.
games, which is weird because isn't Wii U all about being able to
I don't
download everything?
understand what the point of making that is. Why would you want to fracture?
Which audience are you serving, and why are you trying
You're
to serve
apparently
that
only
audience?
serving
Like,
Canada. It's only available in Canada.
That's what people want in Canada. They only want to play games on discs.
I really, really liked for some reason that everyone talked about how the Wii was 2 GameCubes duct taped together, and then the Wii U is literally half the size of one GameCube.
right.
It's so weird to me. Like it's a small square-shaped thing which has a top-loading hatch, but all it does is play Wii disc games. It also that doesn't have GameCube backwards compatibility, which is weird.
Well,
Given
it barely has Wii backwards compatibility.
well, it'll play Wii retail games, but the Wii
You have to download
You have
the
to go
thing for
into
it though.
Wii
So like
mode
if
and,
you
like,
had
launch it in
the
480p.
well, I wonder though if you had this Canadian
What?
one where you can't get online.
I'm talking about the Wii Classic.
Oh, you're talking about.
Or whatever this thing is.
the Wii doesn't.
Oh, this
have-
one.
The Wii-
yeah.
the Wii
no,
Mini.
This one they took away the GameCube.
But that is,
compatibility.
it's probably because they didn't want to deal with the hardware of reading a small disc. But that's the Wii's actual hardware is a GameCube with more system memory and a slightly updated graphics chip. But it's I think it's the same CPU. I think it's the same architecture. Like the Dolphin emulator
Right.
doesn't give a shit if you're giving it a Wii ROM or a GameCube ROM. Not that I've ever loaded a
Right,
ROM in an
right,
emulator.
use that, no.
But I mean, even I think for first-party development, it was a really similar development environment. So
that's
it's
just
really
strange.
odd that they would not support that. It's really weird.
Or like what data would lead to the
'Cause, like,
decision to make that thing?
It seems like you'd want to go the opposite direction. It seems like you'd want to give someone a Wii that is just a Wi-Fi thing, and you can use this to download every Wii game, N64 game, Super Nintendo game, and Sega Genesis game. We don't care about your discs. People are going to stop making Wii games, but if you want the entire Wii catalog, plug this dumb streaming box into your TV that gives you access to everything Nintendo's made for the last 2 decades.
They found there was a large audience of Canadians with a $100 bill, no internet connection, and who only heard of video games starting 4 years ago. So that's just what
Apparently,
they're
those
trying. They're
people
really trying to just nail that demographic
It's
down.
really, really
hard.
odd. Because, there's just this proliferation of tiny little boxes that look exactly like that, but all that they actually do is connect to the internet and then drop something onto a little SD card or stream it.
Yeah.
But do the opposite of that.
Yeah.
It's very odd. They look cute, though. I like the little...
It's a little red little box.
No, I like that guy.
Yeah, no, it's adorable.
Me 5 years ago would have bought it just to have that weird piece of Nintendo hardware.
Yeah. Cool. Are we all done here?
Yeah, probably.
All right. Thanks for listening to our video game podcast.
We done here?
Video games.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Kirk.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the show, Kirk.
Yeah, happy to be here. Get the fuck out of here.